All right, so I've actually figured something out that was really plaguing me, and so I'm just going to get to it right now. Um, I would have some errors that would come up when I try to run certain programs, and some of them were actually graphical programs, and I would get this telephone number like error that was let's see what it is. There was even someone asked a question about this on the developer mailing list. And at the time, I wasn't able to resolve this because I didn't have the answer yet, but I found it just now. So there'll be some thing where it has trouble resolving a symbol, and it's this symbol here, or it's related to library XML, and it's got this number -214-747-870. It's always that number, and someone else was having that issue also. Here's the answer. Okay, so I'll get to what I did later, because let's get to the answer first, and then we'll talk about how I found out what the answer was, which wasn't really a big deal, and I haven't really done anything new here. I've just found the needle in the haystack, basically. But it's exciting to come up with an answer. It's going to help people. So, where am I? All right, there are two, when you build Zlib, and first of all, actually, this is probably going to be important for everybody. As I can see it right now, and I'm just mentioning this because it's like we're gonna have some lost patches out there. Let's just say some fixes were made for BEOS, and those fixes still need to be applied to Haiku, but they just kind of get lost over time or in the shuffle, or people don't worry about it anymore. And that's exactly this. So in the source code for, I'll just go in here because I have it in package source. If I could just calm down, focus on what I'm doing here because I'm just so excited about this. It's in package source, it's under devel. I have the source code downloaded and extracted here. Okay, so I'm going to go to the zlib folder, work directory, zlib directory. Okay, so so if you're getting that error, I'm going to put that in my YouTube title. If you're getting the error where it says cannot resolve symbol, and it's got -214-747-870 or some number, and you're using Haiku, there are two files you need to change inside of the zlib directory if you're compiling manually from source, if you're not using Haiku Porter. Okay. It is the zconf.h, but especially the zutil.h. In fact, once I changed that file, that resolved the issue. I did make a change to the zconf.h file as well, because there's one thing I did that I have not done so far. So I haven't gone in and downloaded the source code, extracted it, and grepped for BEOS, basically. That's what I did in this case. Because right now, we don't have this patch on Haiku Port. We're not patching for this in Haiku Ports. We have a recipe for Zlib, but we don't have a patch for it. So, as far as I can tell, this error is still going to happen no matter what you use. Haiku Port or Haiku, from source, from package, anything. If you don't make this change, you're going to have this problem when you try to link other libraries that need library Z. So, in the zutils, it's not a big deal. It's a real small change. It's right here. So all I did was add and if defined Haiku to this define fd opened, this line right here that I've just highlighted. It's line 148 in version 1.2.8. I think that might be, I'm not sure that's the latest version. Okay, that's the only, that's one of two changes that I made. It ended up in the result. when I try to compile the biology program called BODR, it built and it didn't spit out the error, can't resolve the symbol. So I resolved it. Woo! So anyway, pardon me. The next one is zconf.h, and I thought this Z is a little bit different. It doesn't really have a configure script, so it has these local headers that are right there that kind of define things that would normally be found in a configure script. Nonetheless, so this is what I've added after line 352 in zconf.h. There's only zlib just has a source directory, so you're going to find these files in the source directory. And I added these lines. I basically just copied the BOS stuff and I pasted it right here, right above ZEXTERN. So hopefully I've got this. I'm going to go over, I'm going to do this again. Get this flashy thing out of the way. Jesus. Go over here. Let's see if I can get this again. So pardon me if I take a bit of time here, but I want to make sure I got this. Alright, so this file is called zconf.h. It's in the only source directory for zlib. I added this stuff that I am going to highlight in red. Hopefully use the down arrow. The most uncoordinated people in the world. That area right there, and I'm going to unhighlight it. I basically copied the BOS stuff there. But this isn't the critical change. It may be part of the critical change. But if I just changed this, tried it again, didn't work. But then when I went over here and I changed the zutil.h file, and all I did is add these two pipes, the space, defined, parentheses, underscore, capitals, haiku, underscore, into parentheses. Once I did that, then when I went to compile BODR that was having that error with the can't define, the symbol, it built. This was having an effect on my X11 programs. I still haven't run the X11 programs. There may be some other issue, like not having built x.org. But, so the answer lies in zlib. Because I tried a number of things. I tried rebuilding zlib. I thought maybe it might be Python. Because when zlib builds, it tries to read a header from Python. I thought maybe it was getting it from there, but I've narrowed it down. And I just decided to go ahead and download the source code, extract it, and do a grep -r. This is probably a good thing to know for I still think I have a horribly let's just go to the directory. How about that? I still think I have an impossible task ahead of me trying to build all these things, but I just keep coming back, and I don't know why. Maybe because I want to find out new stuff. I finally was able to do something. So to find these, so if you get any source code and you're having trouble compiling it, there's a chance that it was already ported over to BOS, and there's a chance that if you do the same thing they did to get BOS to run, and do it for Haiku, that it will actually run or compile. So, what I'm doing is I've downloaded the source code. Now I want to look to see whether actually BOS shows up there, right? And the way to do that, you can use grep -r space and then whatever string you're searching for. You could also do this if you're looking for some strings in this very large, body of source code. So I'll just do this, and it's very particular. So it had to be capital BEOS or it would not come up. And there we are. And you can see this is the function they're talking about. I also happen to read the README too for for Zlib. I got desperate and read the documentation. I usually don't do that, which is a fault of mine. Okay, but it says GCD open is not supported, and frankly, I didn't know what that meant. I took the chance that that might mean, you know, the result being that I'm going to get unresolved symbols because GC open isn't supported. I don't know what it means. And there it is. So I found, now this is the fresh code I've just downloaded. All I have right now are my Confederate patches that will pave over those two and end up bringing up Haiku, but I saw it was in zconf and zutil, so I made the change to those two. So you might try doing that. If you run into problems with some other thing you're trying to compile, you can download the source code and grep for it and see and try it. It doesn't hurt to try. If it works, great. So anyway, I know how to make patches, and I'm just going to do this again. I'm going to make some patches in package source, and then I'm going to combine them into one thing, so at least there's a patch. I'm not confident about making recipes at this stage. I'm missing something, obviously. But anyway, so I'll just do this quickly and make some patches. So the first thing I look for is if I'm using package sources, my means by which to get patches created. If that's what I choose to do. Just, you can choose to do it other way. You can choose to use Haiku. It doesn't matter. Just this is one choice. I want to explain the choice that I understand. So first thing I notice is there isn't a patches folder here, which is good news, because it could interfere. If there's a patches folder and those patches try to patch the same things that you want to patch, you might end up making a bad patch or having a patch conflict. Two patches are trying to patch one file. I've had that happen before. Good news is there's no patch folder here, but if there was a patch folder there, what I would do is I would delete that patch folder. And what you do is basically, to make patches is go into the source directory, or whatever directory that the file is in that you want. I'm going to make clean. Let me go up to the work. It'll close if I. Okay, I'm going to make clean here. Just so I can show it works. Now Zlib will compile anyway, with or without this change in there. So that's the risk I'm taking, just compiling stuff. It'll compile, but Zlib is a pretty important low-level utility. Okay, so I've made clean. I'm going to bmake extract. And what that means is I'm just going to download the source code. And it's going to, or it's already downloaded. It's actually in the dist files directory. So it's going to extract the target zip file that's in the dist files directory. This is good to know because if you're trying to compile something that has hard links built into the tar, if you FTP it up somewhere, bring it down to Linux or some other platform that supports hard links, you unzip it and you zip it back up without the hard links and bring it back in, you can just put it back into the dist files directory and it won't try to download. So I have, let's see, what did I just do? Yes, right, I've extracted it. Okay, so there it is. Okay, so I don't have object files sitting around that, so this is what it really looks like to start with. Alright, so first of all, what files am I going to change? We're going to change the zconf and the zutil.h header. And then I'll get into why having a lot of people working on this stuff is important. But I'll do this first. So zconf doesn't exist. Yeah, it does. So this file, I'm going to edit the name, call it original. I'm going to put a .orig at the end of it, and then I'm going to copy in my Confederate patch. But this time I'm not going to pave it over. I'm going to make a Yankee patch out of this. Then on zutil, I'm going to edit the name and make it zutil_h.orig. All right, and I'm going to copy this in. Now you have to have, at least in, if you're using package source, you have to go into the package tools subdirectory, which is a category just like editors or archivers. It's package tools. I forgot the name of the package that it was in. Let's look here quickly. I've made too many packages. I don't know. You know, I've done a video on this before. I know I've mentioned this more than once. I think it's called package diff. Let me look at the contents here. Yeah, it's package diff. So when I say package, it's PKG. So PKG tools, and then there's a subdirectory called PKG diff. And it will build without an issue in Haiku. Then you'll have the make packages binary at that point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the make packages, not packages, patches. I'm tired and I do that often. Sometimes I'll say the wrong thing. Is it MK patches? Yeah, I just used this today. For package source, the next step that you need to take is bmake space make patch sum. Now, after you do that, what you'll see is, you should see, is at least in package source, a folder called patches, and an original, which is the original patch, of course, didn't exist, so it's 0. I'm going to trash that. Trash that. And if you want to get this ready for Haiku Porter, the way that, at least that they look, the patches look, they're basically, they have the name of the package, slash, and then the version number of the thing you're doing it, the package you're doing it for. The reason why I'm giggling is I don't really think I'm not. I know I'm not an expert on this, so, but that seems to be obvious. So first thing you want to do is you want to, actually you can do this from the command line. Should I do this from the command line? I'll do both. Okay, there's something called the cat command, which was the way the old Unix hackers actually read text files. They don't need a word processor or even PE to read them. They just use cat. And then you can redirect the output from cat to a file that you've made, and you could also redirect the output of a second file and append that to the file that you made with the first cat command. There is, I think there's a little bit of cleanup needs to be done. I'm not exactly sure if it's going to be perfect to go in there. I got to look at the way these patches lay. There's so many things to learn. But, so I'll just first of all, go into the patches directory. And let's see if this is going to be called zlib what? 1.2.8 patch set or patch. Okay, so I'm gonna do cat. I'm gonna type PA in tab, and it's gonna tell me the name of both of them. Zconf H, and I'm gonna redirect the output. Since I'm in the patches directory, it'll land in the patches directory. I'm going to call this zlib 1.2.8 dot patch set. Let me make sure. Dot patch. Okay, now when I do this again, I'll do it for zutil, I'm going to use 2 carrots instead of 1. Because the rabbit's hungry. And I'm also going to do it like that. So the end result should be is the contents of both those files will end up being actually just one file. If it isn't, there it is. Okay, so let's look at it. And actually, you can add these two together. 8 plus 1 is 9. 6 plus 3 is 9. 4 plus 3 is 7. Am I getting that? Commands I ran are here, in case I didn't get that on camera, because I do that sometimes. Cat concatenates the contents of the text file. The single caret redirects it to the output file that I'm creating called zlib blah 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 128.patch. The 2 carets, which are below it, allows me to not overwrite the file, but to add the contents of the second text file to the file. Okay, let's look at it. Name ourselves a patch. Only thing is, we get the netbsd stuff in here. And netbsd, I'll call this. I'll sign off as Mama. High school nickname. And so I have a patch. I actually have a patch that if I'm able to actually get this, you know, or someone's going to be able to get this into Haiku ports, and it's going to be very important because people are going to have that error otherwise, and they're not going to be able to build certain apps because they don't have that change in there, as far as I know. So that's it. And for a while there, I thought the difference between our zlib header and the standard zlib header had something to do with this error, but I think maybe the difference actually has to do with the, perhaps, I probably should look at it, but I'm feeling like I'm ready to go home. And, okay, let me just look. Let me go under Linux. Go to user local or user include. User. Problem is right now I'm only doing this now. I only do this stuff when I'm tired. For the next couple weeks. User include a zlib header. What is this? And if memory serves me right, it was like a line 115 something. Let me see. Hold on. What was the function? It was gz open, was it? Okay, so maybe it isn't. Right, so if we're missing this line 1264, it doesn't matter because, well, it might matter. That may be the reason why Haiku doesn't support gz open. Do we care if it supports gz open? Well, let me look and see if that's gone, actually. So, 1264. I'll just go here, develop headers, and I think it's probably POSIX. I don't know. Let's see. Let me make this bigger. W. Do we stop at W? we do, so maybe it's over here. I know we have a Zlib header somewhere. Not here. Maybe it's in sys. What the hell is it? libz? No. Darn it. Can't find it. No, it's not in there. BSD headers, would it? No, but guess what I could do? The other trick you can do in fact, I wouldn't have done this if I didn't have hadn't read parts of who's the guy's name? Vincent Brown, I think it is. Let's make sure. Sorry, Martin Brown. Martin Brown mentions this in his book. So I could do find, I guess. Do that. Just gotta be able to. This is the other thing he recommends you do. Find minus name zlib.h. And it's right in headers. So why didn't I see that? Is it because I'm blind? Probably. So let's go up here. Boot system. Where's the headers? Let's go right there. Zlib. What number is it? I know there's a number missing. Question is, well, what number is it? 1264. We don't support this. There's okay, so there's another line that's missing, but this GZ open, we actually don't support that. At least I don't think we do, because so I don't know what the difference is. I forgot. I think I wrote it in the mailing list somewhere. So anyway, the GZ open, we actually don't support that. All right, so I'm done. I got a patch. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Probably. Yeah, I'm so tired right now. I'm gonna go to sleep. Maybe try to send it to someone tomorrow. I don't know. Maybe I'll just FTP it and see if someone downloads it eventually. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm done. But that was, to me, that was huge, because that was one of the reasons why I was stopping. It's like, you know, got this weird. Now I just got to figure out the libraries.